Welcome back, Truth Seeker. September 5th, 2018. One of the top stories right now, supposedly an anonymous top official in the Trump administration did an op ed with the New York Times saying how they've been countering Donald Trump's actions for the sake of the nation. And I want to show you why this story is coming today from the New York Times, further proving that everything in the mainstream media, especially if it comes from the New York Times, is contrived propaganda by the numbers. So, the code you have to know of the elite, which control your government and media, is Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words. And this word anonymous has this special Gematria of 137, like Washington, D.C., like government, like authority, like White House. There's this famous statue in Washington, D.C., Albert Pike, the Confederate war general, the only Confederate with a statue in his honor in D.C. And under his arm is the book he wrote, Morals and Dogma, considered to be one of the most important texts of Freemasonry. And notice Morals and Dogma sums to 137, just like Washington, D.C., where the statue resides with the book in his arm. In this book, he says Freemasonry owes all thanks to Kabbalah. And Kabbalah has the core belief that God created the world by merging the letter with the number. And this study of Kabbalah originally comes from Hebrew. In Hebrew, the word for Kabbalah is, as you see on the right side of the screen, right here. That word in Hebrew Gematria has a numerical value of 137. And what 137 is the 33rd prime number. Now consider Washington, D.C. is named after the 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason, George Washington. And further, in Gematria, federal equals 33, Masonry 33, secrecy 33, order 33. This op-ed comes from the New York Times. New York has that Gematria of 33, a state established on July 26, 7 plus 26, 33. The Masonic headquarters in Washington, D.C., the House of the Temple, 33 pillars on the outside, each 33 feet tall. And I don't know how I can continue to present this information and there be all these real world examples for people to look at to realize that numbers are really important to Freemasonry. And just to build on this for a moment, the whole fascination with 33, it comes from Kundalini. Kundalini has this spiritual belief that spiritual ascension happens up the 33 vertebrae of the human being. People, in that same cipher that Masonry, secrecy, order, federal all sum to 33 in, people equals 33, person equals 33. The word name has Gematria of 33. As for Kundalini, notice it has Gematria of 58. Notice Freemasonry, 58. Notice Secret Society, 58. Whole lot of things that have to do with Freemasonry have Gematria of 58. I also want to come back to Kundalini for a second. Notice it also sums to 41. Albert Pike writes about these things in his book. The name Pike has Gematria 41 in the base ciphers. The name Albert has Gematria 41 in the base ciphers. The name Albert and Pike, both 41, which is the 13th prime number, from the White House to that statue where he's holding that book, Morals and Dogma, is 13 blocks. 13 blocks away, and not arbitrarily. Look at the name Albert Pike, 9945. Watch what happens when I write out 13. 9945. You see? Come back to Albert for a moment. Notice the 58 as well. Freemasonry. People say, who are they? They, 58. You know, they got the power. Power, 58. Special numbers. Notice also that Freemasonry has Gematria of 59. In Hebrew, Freemasonry sums to 59 as well. Today is September 5th, a date written 5/9. Like 59, NYT, the way New York Times is abbreviated, 59. You see? So, anonymous source, New York Times, September 5th. understand it's all Freemasonry. Also in the base ciphers, New York Times 147, Freemason 147, Conspiracy 147, U.S. President 147, all when you just type it in on this cipher. President of the United States, also 147. 147 windows on the White House. Talk about the same things often because the patterns are so repetitive. Today's date, September 5th, 2018. In numerology, 5 plus 9 plus 20 plus 18, 52. Big attack on the president, the White House today. President in the base ciphers, also 52. White House, also 52. Government, also 52. Authority, also 52. That term, the Cabal, 52. Kabbalah, also 52. Kabbalah based in the Tree of Life, 52. Gematria, the practice of coding letters and numbers together, 52. See how this all comes together? That's what this is a tribute to. This entire story. You know, the anonymous source, this date, the location, the subject. And really, every day, the news media pays homage to this code. But on a day like today, September 5th, it just becomes all the more clear. You know? So, some other notes. Trump witch hunt. This comes the day after the FBI found Dorothy's ruby red slippers that were missing for 13 years. You know, the wicked witch that Dorothy was after. Notice witch hunt has Gematria 45 in 2 of the 4 base ciphers, like Trump's the 45th president. Book prompts West Wing witch hunt. You know, the wicked witch of the West. West has that gematria of 13 and 41. 41 is the 13th prime number. When you write out 13, it sums to 45 and 45. In case you missed my video yesterday on Dorothy and her slippers and what yesterday's news story had to do with Judy Garland's death at age 47, please go back and watch that. But just understand, Oz has this gematria of 41 and 13. 41, the 13th prime. USA with the alphabetic order, 41. 13 colonies, 13 stripes, 13 blocks from the White House statue that is a major riddle in itself. Oh yeah, and then there's Bob Woodward. You know, that's the other thing. Bob Woodward wrote this book. He supposedly got insider information. They're saying this anonymous source speaking out today is backing up Bob Woodward, so these stories are interlinked. Bob Woodward. What's his name equal? Oh, 58 like Freemasonry. You know, the Washington insider. No doubt a Mason himself. Born on the 85th day of the year, the reflection of 58. From his birthday to the news breaking about his book yesterday, which is supposed to come out next week on September 10th, but the news broke yesterday, September 4th, getting more traction today. From March 26th to September 4th was a span of 163 days. From his birthday to today is also 163 days later. So yesterday, a span of 163 days. Today, 163 days later. This book, front and center, the last 2 days. I think this is what it's about right here. You know, this ritual. Make America Great Again. The slogan on Trump's hat. The narrative is picking up for Trump and impeachment. You know. Show you something about Make America Great Again. Notice the 134 as well. Impeach 134. Remember the hit show House of Cards? If you haven't seen my work on House of Cards and how Donald Trump, the Trump card, was running at the same time and the parallels between him and Kevin Spacey and the name in the show Frank Underwood and the name Donald Trump, none of this stuff's by accident. The same people who control Hollywood, they control your government, your media. They do it all by the code. You got Melania, the mail order bride for Trump. You know, there's a whole lot of 134 in the Trump administration. Jared Kushner, another 134. There's even more. You know. Don't forget Donald Trump, the winner of the 58th U.S. presidential election. announced he was running from the 58-story Trump Tower, hired the 58-year-old Steve Ray for Inauguration Day. Way back when, Suddenly Susan, an episode on May 8th, 5/8, they made a magazine cover, Donald Trump for President. Back in 88, Trump equals 88. Trump went on Oprah, 58, and talked about the future presidency. Oprah Winfrey, also 58. In 88, Trump talking about him, president, all predictive programming, everything planned out. So many people who come to this channel for the first time, they get overwhelmed with all these questions that they don't have the answers to, and then they think all this stuff's impossible. For those of you who are in that boat, realize some of us are good at math. This isn't very hard. You know, we can do this in our sleep. We also live in the age of computers. You know, computers can do a lot. Computers can go through 1,000,000 calendar years and plan out everything by a certain numerical pattern, hitting dates, spacing out dates, getting date numerology. None of this stuff is that hard to execute. If you know you're going to install Donald Trump as the 58th, as the president for the 58th, election, it's not hard to have an episode of Suddenly Susan come out on May 8th, an episode of The Fresh Prince come out on a date with 58 numerology, him talk on Oprah on a certain day, and all the things that they did over the years, or any of this other stuff that they do. They have the whole year mapped out, They're doing it. That's what you need to understand. Not overwhelm yourself with the questions that you can't answer. So many of you do. You just start asking all these questions. Oh, I don't have the answers. It's impossible. Hey, do you know how to make a smartphone? Do you know how to make a phone work or a television? You don't? Oh, all those things must be impossible then, huh? There's no such things as phones or televisions because you don't understand how to do it. That's the problem with this nation, Never mind. We'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Until next time.